Good day. So I know I'm a little bit behind in these. Sorry about that, but we'll get them started again. So today we'll be starting with, or rather, we will be continuing the Peter Davison era of Doctor Who, and we'll look at what was the first two-part story, and of three that occurred during his run. So Black Orchid. Guess what you could say is sort of a vanilla release, although it does have a fairly decent assortment of special features, including, look at the comic books and stuff like that, your typical Blue Peter, and film restoration and all that fun stuff. But anyway, so here we're in England in the 1920s, mid-1920s, and this is one of the few times where Peter Davison actually has a chance to play cricket, but yeah, whatever. So anyways, here we go. So basic two-part story, Black Orchid. And then on to a story which at the time was considered to be, well, epic, to put it mildly. Notable for a few reasons. This is Earthshock. The reason it was called Earthshock was to hide the fact that the Cybermen appeared at the end of episode 1 for the first time since Tom Baker's second season. So it was probably, one of the great Doctor Who cliffhangers. I remember when I first saw this, it was a couple years after it had aired, but I didn't know the Cybermen were on it. I was shocked, and I'm sure most other people were shocked. And the second reason it's notable is it finally gets rid of the character of Adric, and the way they decided to do this was not the typical, companion leaves or whatever story. No, we see Adric get blown up, which, considering how the character was loathed, I'm guessing a lot of people probably cheered about that. It also is kind of a, I don't know if you call it cheesy or not, but end sequence where at the end of episode 4, they don't actually show or play the music, they just have the music scrolling over Adric's shattered badge of mathematical excellence, or whatever that thing was. Also, in terms of the directing, this is definitely one of the strongest stories, probably from Doctor Who's run. It was directed by Peter Grimwade, who was known to be fairly difficult to work with, but considering, the time this was shot, the budget it was shot on, even, by today's standards, it really does hold up. Like, obviously they can't do the effects that they can do now with the new series, but it is pretty much, exciting from beginning to end, and this is definitely one of Davison's best outings. Probably in the top 20 overall list of Doctor Who stories. So we have Earthshock. Then, unfortunately, we are let down a little bit. Time Flight. Also known as the story where the character of Tegan leaves, supposedly, but then comes back in the next story, so I'm not quite sure, what the story was behind that. I think she had intended to leave or something like that, and then they decided to bring her back. But the story itself, this is the one that features the Concorde jet getting lost, and I don't know, it really doesn't hold together. It's not completely terrible or as bad as some people make it out to, but it's definitely not one of the better stories. So you can, take it or leave it. This one actually was written by Peter Grimwade, which, is kind of funny because he had directed Earthshock, which was brilliant. So he was definitely, I'd say, probably a better director by far than he was a writer, but, the story didn't really hold together. But, of course, it also features the return of the Master, so, I guess kind of a exciting surprise coming halfway through. Tried the whole disguise thing again, but I think that had already been done in Castrovalva, so yeah, to be honest, this story is take it or leave it. I don't know, I think in Region 2, if I'm not mistaken, this one and the one after it, Arc of Infinity, actually came together in a set called Tegan's Tales or something like that. They didn't come in a box set in Region 1, but they both came out at the same time. Which I think, other than The Key to Time, was the first time we'd had two back-to-back stories released simultaneously. Okay, so that's Time Flight. And next we have Arc of Infinity. definitely better than Time Flight, but still probably not one of the best overall stories. Now, this one, I guess what's most notable about this is we see the Time Lords for the first time since, well, probably about the midpoint of the Tom Baker era. Also notable as Colin Baker makes his first appearance on the show as a rather nasty guard or whatnot, but and I think this, I'm not sure if this played a major part in the casting. I think John Nathan Turner said he made people laugh at a party or something. That's how he was cast. Although Colin Baker is actually my favorite Doctor, and I've said that a few times. But yeah, it's still, you know, surprising where, you know, they'd have a character who would be cast as the Doctor playing not one of the biggest roles, but a major role in the story. You know, just 2 years prior, but whatever. And Gallifrey on this one, to be honest, is, I don't know, kind of dull, other than, you know, the vaporization scene with the Doctor. But anyways, what can you say? So anyway, so that is the Arc of Infinity. So, as always, everyone, thank you for watching, and have yourselves a wonderful day.